Welcome, everybody. First things first, as always, if I could just get a quick audio visual check, please. Let me know if you can see my charts clearly and hear me all right. How are you all doing this fine day, wherever you are? And after a confirmation, so I know I'm not talking to myself, we can get started. Adrian, there goes your sleep. Sorry, buddy. Glad to have you here, though. Always appreciate having you here. Yeah, how's everyone feeling on the market right now, by the way? I have mixed feelings right now, which I'll get into in a second. Right on. Nice to see you guys here. Nice to see some familiar faces. Just some legends in the group here. Okay, right on, guys. Thank you for that. Yeah, how are you all feeling on the market? Like I said, I am going to basically, as always, basically be diving into both the bullish and the bearish scenarios for Bitcoin as I see them across all different types of time frames here. So, as well as I'm also going to take a look at some potential lower time frame setups to watch for and that sort of thing. So first, I want to dive right into the 1 minute chart here, you guys, before I zoom out a little bit. Feeling slightly hopeful. Yeah, we will see here. There is some hopeful for both the Bears and the Bulls. Right now, like I said, I want to start in the 1 minute just because I'm seeing weakness right now on a short time frame. I do want to talk about a potential bullish scenario here. But with the MDX Trendmaster indicator, I got a lower sell signal. I was actually posting about this in the MDX ALGO recently about the fact that we got a higher sell signal and a higher buy signal. I thought that maybe we were going to push up to a higher resistance level, but we quickly turned around with a lower sell signal. And as well, we broke some structure on the 1 minute chart and we ended up getting this pullback to the 786 here almost perfectly. So I did end up taking a little bit of a scalp there. I still have half of it running right now. We're going to have to see what happens. But basically, I'm eyeing up this support down here. And this shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise for you guys why I have this purple box here. But basically, since we got this little bounce here, we did technically break some structure, right? First of all, we did break some very micro structure down here, but we even broke above the top of this range back here. So I do want to talk about the potential bullish scenario here where this is actually just a healthy retracement. We come and retest support and then take off from here. Honestly, I am tempted to take a hedge down here to my short. I'm really tempted to take a bit of a long there. I think I'm going to wait and see what the 1 minute kind of does down there. But yeah, if we start breaking some microstructure, do something like this, for example, I would be very interested in longing with that kind of microstructure break. But so far, this short is going good. I'm not just in this short position. You guys know I'm also still in a quarter of my short from way back here at 101.6K. I'm also in a long position. I am in a long position on hype. You guys, I mentioned this in my previous stream that we had a potential bullish scenario setting up on hype on the 4 hour. Not even necessarily a bullish scenario, but a bullish Stuber fib setup. For those of you who took it, I mean, obviously we have already hit the first target. And now, I mean, I bumped up my stop loss to break even on this one because I have been hearing rumblings of FUD around Hyperliquid recently. So just in case, I am doing my due diligence and I'm removing my risk from that trade. I already hit my first target here after testing the 786 and 886. So I got a couple entries in there, average entry just below $13. And like I said, the next 4 hour candle, even though it's red here, we did end up hitting that 0.5 fib, the next target. So, or the next candle rather. So I did end up hitting my first target. Like I said, after paying myself a little bit there, we'll just see what happens with the rest. If it gets stopped at break even, so be it. That was really just one trade I've taken on that. I'm mostly trading Bitcoin or scalping other altcoins, but that's one that a friend pointed out. And that was kind of, they pointed out structure break basically. And then as far as entries, I was like, well, I would consider doing something like this. So yeah, mentioned this in my last stream. So far, I mean, it's playing out okay. To me, it looks like it's weak, just like the rest of the market feels right now to me. But yeah, as far as Bitcoin, like I said, I think we do have room to go a little bit lower yet. I I want to look, guys. I'm gonna start. I'm doing it backwards today, where normally I start really zoomed out and work my way in. Today, since the whole theme, and I've been saying it recently, is when in doubt, zoom out. And most people call that a bullish theory because yes, eventually, if you zoom out far enough, Bitcoin has gone up over time. But we're gonna do this in the opposite way. And if we're having any doubts on the shorter time frame, what I'm showing you here, we are going to zoom out and see what the larger time frames say. So 1 minute, like I said, we got the lower sell signal there, as well as a 1 minute Stuber fib rejection there. Absolutely perfect. So I love to see that this lower sell signal trend is holding and pushing us lower. So hopefully that remaining half of my scalp does just continue to run, right? That would be ideal. I do have another small take profit just front running my purple box here a little bit. But other than that, I'm hoping to leave most of my position run just in case, because I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. Let's hop out to my 4 hour. Guys, there's a lot of things I want to map out, or not so much map out, but just point out with this chart. So whether or not you like the colors, these colors actually do serve a purpose here with what I'm about to say. So the 4 hours chart, you guys, there's a few things I want to talk about and why I can't be a total moon boy yet. For one, the first thing and the most important to me is always structure. I always look at structure first, and then I'm looking at indicators second. But as we have this, and as I've been pointing out for weeks now at this point, we had a low, we had a lower low. That means our lower high is right around 95K. Yes, that is a nice move to the upside if we get that bounce, but that's where the actual trend lower high is. So as long as we are below that 95K, the structure is bearish for me on the mid to long term. Anything 4 hour plus is bearish to me unless we break 95K. Yes, I have been playing some longs in between. I've been playing shorts in between, but overall, the trend on the midterm to long term, if we're below 95K, that's just a lower high. That's all there is to it. From there, I want to talk about this beautiful indicator, the one that actually brightens up my candles and makes them so beautiful like that. There is actually more to it than just the colors. And I want to point out, like I've talked about with many different indicators before, is pointing out how they are actually trending. And one thing that I've noticed on the trend of this indicator, even though it's just colors, is notice that whenever we get these bright red candles, that's where we're starting to form resistance. We're starting to top out kind of a thing. But notice every time we've been flipping red has been lower and lower on the trend. We started with our bright red here, then we had lower bright red, lower bright red, lower bright red. So that's, take it for what it is, but just I only use this indicator because I like the way it looks, quite honestly. But that being said, that is something that I noticed the last couple of days, that hey, that is a little additional confluence to my theories. From there, I want to bring up the RSI. You know, we're getting another one of those situations where we're starting to look like we got a double or even a triple top here, and we are getting a nasty RSI divergence here. It's not the perfect reversal signal that I like, just with how it lined up. I'm pretty particular about how I like that signal that I have on the weekly. I wouldn't shut up about for the last several months, but it is still a bearish divergence, and that's all there is to it. As well, with on top of that, with my MDX Wave Master indicator here, we did have this overextended bearish reversal signal here, this blue triangle here. So that's a nasty signal on its own, and something that just kind of caught my eye, just more additional confluence that, hey, things may be turning around a little bit sooner than I was expecting, right? Because you guys know, even though I've been quite bearish, I was expecting us to get up to at least 91K. I really thought that we would get up to this resistance before getting rejected. Hell, maybe even all the way up here. Quite honestly, like I said, 95K is the lower high, but any sort of a liquidity grab, a swing fail, a failed break, whatever you want to call it, it would be totally fair game to line up with approximately 98,000 US dollars. So anywhere from 91 to 98 is kind of where I was targeting. So I actually don't like that we're seeing this weakness so early. you guys know I have been favoring the downside for all of 2025 so far, but honestly, I was expecting us to go higher. It's just that I'm starting to see weakness early. Like I said, on the 1 minute, we're seeing the weakness. We're just, as we zoom out, we're seeing more and more weakness, right? Another thing I want to mention about this 4-hour chart is, yes, I would love to get up to this midterm Stuber fib setup, but understand that since this year began, since January 20th, when the market reversed, the 4-hour hasn't actually been able to get up to Stuber fibs, right? Even up here, let's just say pulling from this high here, notice that we never got up to the 786. Pulling a fib from here before that, we never quite got to the 786. So they're always being front run a little bit, other than I think the original one here. Did we get one there? Very close, but they're always being front run, just showing the strength of the bears on the midterm trend. So I don't want to rule out the possibility that we could be reversing early here. Let's hop over to the weekly chart here, you guys. Nothing has changed for me on this chart. Basically, we still have that nasty bearish divergence on the RSI. Yes, we're getting close to that resistance, but again, that is resistance, right? So the fact that we are getting back towards that diagonal resistance level, and the price really hasn't done a heck of a lot yet. Basically, I just need to see that line break. I've been very vocal about that for 2 months now, I think, close to. That basically, that's going to be the first thing that makes me get macro bullish again, just like it did back here when we ended up having the same type of divergence here. Eventually, we ended up breaking it. And when that broke, that's when we were able to continue to the upside. But until that happens, I don't want to really shout that, hey, the bottom is in just because we got a couple weeks of green candles. That's not how structure works. That's how gut feelings work. Also, again, with the wave master indicator here, notice on the weekly time frame, we have this nasty overextended bearish reversal sign, a bearish pivot here. Also this bearish cross on our lines here on this indicator. Also, the high frequency trading bots have been pushing the downside for a couple of months now. There's just a lot of things in this weekly chart that basically I've been extremely bearish on this chart for all of 2025, actually since just before Christmas. And since nothing has changed other than a couple green candles, it doesn't matter. We had some up here as well. Nothing has actually changed in the structure on this chart. So my opinion about it hasn't changed. My opinion about the monthly chart has changed slightly. You guys might not like this. Again, I know in my last several streams, I've been talking about these order blocks. When we end up breaking these blocks, these are the only 5 that have broken like this in Bitcoin's history. And every time it's been a complete cycle reverser. So take it for what it is. Not saying it has to play out the same, but we have that type of structure right now. And it's very important to me to understand that this old support box here could be flipping into resistance absolutely perfectly here. And that also lines up, the top of that box is right around that 97K. So that kind of fits into that 97, 98K for a liquidity grab if we happen to get up to those levels where we would still technically have resistance, even on the monthly chart at that level. The reason why I say the monthly chart is slightly different from last time I looked at it is, again, guys, that wave master indicator. I don't know if this is going to continue to happen. It's only happened a few times because there's so much data on the monthly chart like this. But just notice what has happened when we get these bearish crosses with this indicator, with our 2 lines crossing each other. So I guess the first time would have been, well, right here basically is where it crossed. So right at that market cycle top, right here, where did this cross? Right when we got this big engulfing candle. So although we did technically go slightly higher, it was the start of the bear market. That was the warning shot fired. And as what we have right now, guys, look at this on the monthly. So we broke that structure and we do have this bearish cross forming. Depending how this monthly candle closes, and to be fair, there's only a few days left. Maybe it doesn't cross this way, but as it looks right now, that isn't. I don't like the look of that, honestly. That's all there is to it. So although guys, and understand that as traders, we need to accept the fact that we could be wrong. You always need to have a plan B. I talk about this all the time. It's way more important to be able to react than it is to predict. It's way more important to be like, hey, if this happens in the price, this is how I'm going to react. Or if this happens, this is how I'm going to execute my trades, because it really doesn't matter how your analysis is. If you don't have a way to trade it consistently, then it's all for nothing, right? I mean, you can be wrong on your analysis and you can still make money. That's the thing. I could be wrong about this. Oh, this downward turning sell signals here. This is a warning that we're bearish. I could be very wrong about that, but it doesn't matter because I've already taken profits on half my position and the rest can get stopped out at break even if it needs to. It doesn't really matter because I haven't strategy that I can kind of execute there, right? I played a Stuber fib. I hit my targets. From there, I hope the position runs. If not, it doesn't matter all that much, right? So, and that's all stuff, guys, that I teach in my Telegram channel. So for those of you interested in trading based on charts rather than tweets and fundamentals, you want to stay one step ahead of the markets based entirely on price action, no emotions attached, and you want more of my thoughts on the market in general, some of my trade setup ideas and that sort of thing, do yourself a favor, get in the Telegram by scanning the QR code on the screen or by clicking the link and following the steps in the description down below. We've had some very nice calls in there. All of this bearish price action that we've had recently, none of it came as too much of a surprise. Like I said, before Christmas already, I think this was a little bit after Christmas, but I was very ready for this big bearish move while everybody was blaming everything else. Also willing to play the long side of things, but just kind of looking at how I look at market structure in general and kind of how I update some of my positions like that. So if that's something that interests you, I also have some educational content, much deeper dive into how I go into basically the structure and where I notice ranges changing and where I pull my Stuber fibs from and that sort of thing. Got some of that educational content in the Telegram as well for people who are signed up there. And also, guys, don't forget that we have just over a week, just under 2 weeks left. I think it's until April 6th, you guys. My followers do still get this sweet trading bonus. It's cash back on deposit and trading bonuses. So there's some good rewards there, some good cash back payouts and that sort of thing. So for those of you guys who are in there, that is still on until April 6th as well. So just a reminder there. But yeah, like I said, do yourselves a favor, scan the QR code, get in the Telegram if that's something that interests you. But yeah, guys, as far as the 1 minute goes, even if we get a buy signal here, technically it's going to be a lower buy signal. I still think it's very possible that we end up testing lower. Although that being said, we're going to have to see because we did technically just break some microstructure, right? I talk about analyzing microstructure so often. So here would have been a low. And then notice we set a lower low here and we set another lower low. And we actually ended up breaking that. So technically, it's very possible the rest of this position gets stopped out, right? And this is one of those times where if I had not taken profits yet at this point at my classic TP levels for my Stuber fibs, this would be one of those times where I would be very quickly downsizing my position, because even if we do reverse and give it one of these, this is just a sign to me that, hey, something, there's a lack of strength from the bears now at this point because we have broke some structure to the upside. And so it is what it is, right? So it depends what kind of time frames you're trading and that sort of thing. But that's the thing. I understand, guys, that not everybody likes trading the 1 minute like me. And honestly, we could end up seeing some weakness here because technically we did, again, micro analyzing, but we have a high and a higher high, and we may lose that right now on the very, very micro trend. So guys, I understand that not everybody wants to trade the 1 minute. Honestly, less people should trade the shorter time frames. I think, me personally, I think most people should be more so trading the 4 hour, the 1 hour, maybe the 15-minute stuff like that, because you need to react fast when you're trading the 1 minute or the 5 minute. You need to be able to set orders fast. You need to get your entries, your TPs set, your stop loss in place. You need to do all that stuff really fast. And if you're not fast at setting orders and you're trying to trade the 1 minute or something like that, you may miss your entries, right? So that's something to consider. However, that being said, yes, I typically like trading the 1 minute and the 5 minute, but market structure works the same, right? Notice that nothing about my analysis changes when I'm going from the 1 minute to the 4 hour to the weekly to the monthly. I'm kind of looking at the same sort of stuff. The monthly, I actually look at something a little different because I was looking at order blocks specifically. But if I was looking for higher lows, higher highs, that sort of stuff, it would be the same thing, right? And that's exactly why I feel that way about this, as well as, even though this is technically a little swing fail, we went slightly higher the next monthly, but that basically confirms this as my higher low on the micro trend. And we lost that as well, right? That's the same thing as this order block, just explained a little bit different. But that is technically the same type of structure there that I'm talking about on the 1 minute and stuff. Yes, if we end up getting some big engulfing candle and we end up breaking these highs, then the structure of the chart's totally different at that point. And then I can shut up about my bearish theories. And at that point, I am invalidated, right? Because that's the thing. As traders, it's not about being right all the time. It's about having invalidations and having TP levels and something that you can execute over and over, right? So, yeah, it's not about being right all the time. I got to catch up on some of the chat here, you guys. Hopefully you are having a fantastic day. I am just going to leave this indicator up for a little bit here. What else did I want to bring up? Actually, the 4 hour, I think it was. I also wanted to bring up the liquidations band. Notice we did lose that liquidations band, the high leverage, that orange line there. I know I've pointed this out on previous streams before. One thing that I want to talk about from a bullish point of view from this indicator is, although we have lost it and we are still struggling to stay above it, just like we've been struggling all year, every time we get above, we quickly lose it and treat it as resistance again. It is, although it's technically resistance right now, it's at least curling to the upside. I'm just trying to grab onto any bullish theories I can, because I know some people are sick of me being a perma bear. But it is what it is. Another level that I'm interested, guys, on the 4 hour, actually, before I catch up on the chat here, is still this purple box down here, but nothing's really changed from my last stream with that, right? That's just a bullish Stuber fib on just the micro trend, right? As far as the 4 hour, the actual lower high is still way up here at 95K. We don't have an actual higher high, but on just kind of the micro structure here, we do, right? Since we clearly had a high here, higher high, here's our confirmed higher low. That's why I have that fib pulled here. And that's why I would be interested in taking a stab at some sort of a hedge long or getting into a long position period at that level. Kind of, it'll depend what the lower time frames are looking like at those levels. But that's something I'm still interested in from a bullish perspective, because I think if the bulls are able to get some strength off a good support level like that, I think then we can revisit the theory that we will be heading back up to this 4 hour resistance. But as it stands right now, I don't know. It looks a little bit weak. I have my concerns, but those are a couple of the important levels that I'm watching on the 4 hour. Yeah, let me just AI charting tools. Notice we do have a lower high signal here still. So I don't really want to see the price go much above 87, call it 87,040. Actually, let's pull a fib. Where would invalidation off of that setup be? Basically, from a bearish point of view, on the low time frame here, I don't really want to see the price get back above 87.1. If it does, then I guess another setup, you could try for one more bearish setup with this range here, that we get another test of the full range, something like that, in which case I have to move this a little bit. But we could have some resistance forming up there. So yeah, even if this guy gets invalidated, there is still technically resistance up there. But if the bears are going to remain in full control, I wouldn't really expect them to break above this lower high here. So that's kind of the level on the low time frame, obviously the 1 minute here. that we could be looking at resistance basically starting at, what is that, 86.9? Something like so. Just erase some fibs here just to make it a little easier on us. There, those would kind of be the shorter time frame resistance levels that I'd be watching at this time. And as well, like I said, the support level down here. So anybody desperate to get into a long position, I at least see reasons why down here around starting around 86.2, I could see some support shaping up down there. Also, the fact that we did technically break this micro downtrend, maybe we get something out of that, but again, it's just higher risk to me. I would rather have an actual Stuber setup, but it all depends what your trading strategy is, right? So all right, now to finally, you guys, get some gentle tunes going here, and I will catch up on the chat a little bit. Let me know if tunes are too loud or annoying or anything. Maybe you'd rather hear the tunes than my voice. But yeah, how are you guys all feeling today? Crip McCrypto looks like down to me. Meow, you're scratching our back, we're scratching yours. Oh, thank you. Got an itch that needs scratching, right? If you invert the chart, we're going up. That is correct. Oh, Dan, you caught that hype long. Thanks for the call. Nice. Yeah, hopefully you were able to, well, I hope you did take some profits at the classic profit taking levels and remove your risk from there. So awesome. Love to hear it, bro. Mixed feelings. Yeah, honestly, guys, and quite honestly, I know some people think that this is like a checkmate call out, but a lot of people like to be like, oh, you're saying it could go up or it could go down. If whatever trader you're listening to is not saying that, then they're very dangerous. The fact is, we don't know for sure what is going to happen. All we can do is take our best probabilities, take our best guesses, educated guesses, but waiting for our back-tested strategies to show up, basically, right? Like from here, the market can do whatever, but I'm not going to take a trade again until I get my ideal setup, so that even if I'm wrong, my setup will hopefully at least get me some scalping profit targets, and from there, if it runs, great, right? Like I said, being a trader and being a weatherman is basically the two jobs where you can be wrong and you can still make money, so always remember that. To be honest, the broader economy is looking weak and Trump is shilling crypto. My feelings are 40K is incoming. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I'm expecting a bear market or if I'm expecting a bear market sized move to happen fairly quickly. So far, it feels like it would be a slow bleed, if anything. Maybe that's why it needs an extra year and why it started quicker this time. But honestly, we're going to have to see, right? I know I've been claiming that I personally see reasons why we could be in an early stages of a bear market, but I could be very wrong on that. And it's not like I'm YOLO shorting from any given level and just hoping for the best and holding it for the next 2 years kind of a thing. It's nothing like that, right? I'm just open to the idea of trading the downside, basically. The 1 hour on BTC broke structure. That's interesting. Let's bring up the 1 hour. Let's look at it. Oh, yes, we were talking about this earlier. So even though, actually, no, that was me and someone else were talking about that. But technically, and there is even a candle body close below that, but we did technically have, actually here, just to make sure it's actually horizontal. Oh my God. Let's give it something like that as our lower low. And notice we did even close those candle bodies below that. So even if we get a bounce from here, because that, the fact that we ended up breaking this level, but instead of actually breaking down and getting towards our, macro support levels there, or our larger time frame support levels, rather than breaking down, we got a failed break where we reclaimed it immediately and then got a nice little move to the upside, right? Yeah, it was short-lived so far, but to be fair, we did at least get some sort of a reaction there. We did reclaim that level. If we lose it again, I'd have my concerns. But yeah, basically we did break structure to the downside. So even if we get a bounce from here, technically, since this would be our low, lower low, highest point between the two, that would be our confirmed lower high. And at that point, we could pull something like this and start looking for fibs around that. Well, right around 88K, slightly below 88. The thing is, even if this one gets invalidated, I mean, we technically have a slightly bigger one here. So no matter how you look at it, on the 1 hour now, we have broke structure to the downside. And since that happened, there's just some resistance up ahead, right? So the fact that we're seeing those early warning signs before actually getting to my 4-hour targets is a little bit concerning to me. Education video. I have been meaning to get to that. I'm sorry, I have been quite busy recently, and I had prior engagements and stuff, and I'm also planning a little trip and stuff like that. So I got some things going on. I will try and get to that. Maybe even this weekend I have things going on. I'll try to get some sort of a BloFin educational video of different order types and leverage types and stuff like that. Peter, Rusty, bullish AF always. I mean, to be fair, I am very bullish on crypto. I want to be very clear about that, you guys. I'm very bullish on it, but I've been here for more than one cycle, and I understand where only accepting bullish price action can get you into trouble. So although as a whole, I'm very bullish on it, and I think that, the changes governments are making around it and all that sort of stuff, like over time, it's going to be adopted more so, and just more of regular, just a more regular investment for the everyday people and that sort of thing. I understand all that, but there is still very much so going to be bearish price structure, bearish price action that happens. And honestly, I love shorting. There's a special feeling to it. Special feeling to making money to the downside. They generally play out faster. There's just so many things I really like about shorting. Maz, just want to go skiing again, ditch the screen for a few days. I am definitely planning to hit up some mountains next week, so got a snowboarding itch that needs scratching. Red Panda, good to see you here again. Gets you in trouble all the time, but can't help it. Shorting Bitcoin feels horrific. Honestly, and not everybody's comfortable trading, for one, with leverage, period, but shorting as well, right? Like, that's the thing, guys, is you have to understand as well that just because I'm typically shorting the market so far this year, that doesn't mean that people aren't longing it good, right? Like, I'm sure there's people longing this market who are far out trading myself, just because they are just, they're that good of a trader that they can trade against the trend, and it doesn't matter because they have a system in place where they can take profits before it ends up reversing, whatever, right? That's where I say it's more important to be able to react than predict. As long as you have a system in place, that's the main thing, right? So if you're not into shorting, that's totally fine. It's not like you have to. I just love it. Guys, if you do appreciate my level-headed approach on the markets, you appreciate these streams, me just showing some of my personal favorite trading strategies for free here and that sort of thing, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And again, guys, if it is something that interests you, if you are interested in kind of seeing more of my thoughts on the market, how I look at structure, how I microanalyze, how I look at longer time frames, no emotions attached, not trading based on tweets and that sort of thing. If you just want to learn more about how I look at structure and my thoughts on the market in general, like I said, there's a QR code on the screen that you can scan there that gets you the process started, or you can click on the link in the description down below and follow the steps there to get started as well. I think that's about all I wanted to go over today, guys. Yeah, as far as this micro trend goes, basically I want us to stay below 87K ideally. But even if that breaks again, there's just, the more I zoom out, there's just more and more resistance, you guys. So although, as I was saying earlier in the stream, guys, like originally with this 84 or with this 4-hour time frame, for example, I was totally expecting us to test a little bit higher. I've been so vocal about this for weeks now that I've really just been itching to get into the 786, 886 fib pocket, starting at around 91K. I think there's such a beautiful resistance level there. I would love to find lower time frame shorts there and hope to catch a nice runner there if the market was going to continue the downtrend overall. And if not, it's at least tight invalidation, right? And then I can start longing for the most part. If we start breaking structure to the upside, then I'm totally okay to start focusing more so on the long side of things. I'll still be willing to take shorts. Just like right now, I'm still willing to take the odd long, but just I'll be focusing more so on the long side if we can break that lower high structure on the medium term. At least start looking for pullbacks and trying to look for some bullish setups there. I'm not saying as soon as we break this level. That's the thing, guys, and that's also why I love the Stuber fib setup so much. Is understand that I know myself and a lot of other traders and analysts and whatever, people in the YouTube space, people on Twitter, etc. If they're watching the same level, a lot of times they will say, as soon as we break it, oh, we're going to all-time highs, we broke structure. And although that's very possible we get a crazy breakout, typically speaking, the market loves to break structure and then pull back. That's the whole point of everything based around my strategy, you guys. So even if we end up breaking this resistance level, understand we could be bullish and still get quite a significant pullback. So just understand, just because resistance breaks doesn't necessarily mean long the shit out of it right now. It means wait for a proper trade setup that you've back tested, that you like trading, that works for you, right? It's more so that yeah, even if it's a bullish signal, it still will often break that structure and then get a retrace, and that's the actual entry, right? Just something to worth mentioning, I figure. It's coming, no downtrends, up only. Honestly, I very much so felt that way until we broke this monthly structure. I was worried. I was cautiously bearish when we got my weekly signal played out absolutely perfectly, because before Christmas, I was saying, when we were down here, I was saying I thought we were going to get a double top with a massive bearish divergence on the RSI. That's exactly what happened, and nothing has changed from that. So that made me bearish for the time being. It's the monthly chart that really got me thinking that it's very possible that this cycle's done. It doesn't have to be. Anything in the chart can always be invalidated, but there is starting to be some serious warning signs on the monthly, and I can't ignore those. I feel like this market cycle should have more time, but there's a lot of fundamentals happening across the world right now that are very, very much so misunderstood. And also, you don't know how exactly they're going to play out and how the market makers are going to use that information, etc. So I know everything feels very bullish, but it doesn't necessarily have to be right now. So let the charts do the talking, right? Currently testing that 1 minute Stuber fib. So this is basically where I'd like to see us get rejected. but we will see what happens. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining my stream here. Always love doing these with you guys. Again, if you appreciated my take on the market, some of my trading strategies, if you appreciate my Telegram channel and what I share in there, all those things, guys, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these streams. And with that, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your evening. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.